Devastating and immense wildfires in Southern California in January destroyed tens of thousands of structures and inspired much sympathy and sadness from observers. The task of rebuilding the burned-out homes, businesses, and public buildings received less attention. A pertinent question remains: will the new buildings be as vulnerable to wildfires as the old ones? As in the similarly extensive blazes in Jasper, Slave Lake, and Fort McMurray in Alberta, and Lytton and West Kelowna in British Columbia, the conventional building materials have included lumber, plywood, oriented strand board, window frames, and various plastics, all of which are flammable. Canada has billions of trees and a significant forestry industry, so naturally, wood products have served as building materials for centuries. Yet they have proved over and over to be deficient when it comes to fire resistance. It does not have to be this way. Builders have alternatives. Fire-resistant structural wooden beams and posts are available. Glued laminated timber, cross-laminated timber, and structural composite lumber are good options. High-rise buildings are employing them, including in Canada, but they are not in widespread use. Cost is likely a key consideration. On a building materials website, a standard 4-foot by 8-foot panel of fire-resistant plywood was 51% more expensive than untreated spruce pine fir plywood. However, materials are just one factor in home construction costs. A report from Headwaters Economics in 2022 determined that in California, building an enhanced wildfire-resistant home increased construction costs by approximately $4,032 Canadian over the baseline home. Constructing a home to optimum wildfire resistance increased overall costs by $26,208 Canadian in Northern California and $39,024 Canadian in Southern California. The materials used were standard non-combustible options, including cement, fiberglass, or metals. So far, these proposed materials and design changes are not mandatory in California, a wildfire-prone state. Homeowners who decide to rebuild may not have much choice in the future, though, if they want to protect against fire hazards. Insurance companies are withdrawing coverage because the California Department of Insurance is not allowing the firms to price in full the increased fire risk in the premiums they charge. Australia implemented stricter building codes for new homes after disastrous wildfires in 2022 destroyed many homes and farms and millions of animals. State and territorial building ministers in 2024 agreed to higher climate resilience standards in new construction. The Australian Property Network declared that the new requirements should lower bushfire risks and mandate non-combustible materials. They also noted that lower insurance premiums could compensate substantially for higher construction costs. Thus far, Canadians have shown little appetite, whether at federal, provincial, or municipal levels, to mandate costlier, higher fire-resistant standards in home building and other construction. The moral hazard of taxpayers potentially paying to rebuild destitute inferno victims' homes is also an issue that cannot be overlooked, and is reason enough to proceed to tighten fire codes to lower the risk. Understandably, housing affordability is a pressing concern, and construction cost increases would make this problem worse. However, the risk of total loss and fatalities from highly flammable structures vulnerable to wildfires cannot be ignored, and insurance premium increases already reflect this real problem.